Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Nut Close Show. And this is a very special episode, with this being the 400th episode of the Nut Closer Show. Now, yes, that's actually divided into two categories. We started off, the first 150 episodes were all Facebook Lives before we started. I was convinced by our good friends, Tom and Tracy Hazard over at Podetize, who produced the podcast, to really start a podcast. So this marks the 250th true podcast episode, but 400 overall. So I'm counting 400 because of the consistency. If you look back, when I started doing these, I never thought I would probably hit 400 episodes. I thought I'd probably hit 100 and then move on to something else. And I have to give a big shout out to all our guests, all our fans, all our listeners first and foremost, because if it was not for our listeners listening in and sending in their comments and enjoying the content and sharing it, and give me the positive feedback, we wouldn't be doing this. So thank you so much, first and foremost, for listening. Thank you so much for being a part of it. If you've been a part from the beginning, like some of you guys have, hey, awesome. Thank you so much for being here and continuing to support the Nut Closer Show podcast. So cheers to you. A little coffee for closers this morning for you, everybody. When I realized that today was the 400th episode, I thought back, wow. 26 months goes by really fast, because we started doing Facebook Lives November 1st, 2016. And, as a way to communicate daily with our tribe. And we believe that's been very effective. I think some of you gals out there would agree that it's been very effective. It allows for us to kind of share what's going on, the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm a big believer that we share a lot of the day-to-day activities that we're working on. The content is always constantly changing depending on what's going on in the market, what we see going on, what's going on in our business, what's going on in your guys' businesses. So we hope we continue to deliver good, fresh content through to the next 100 episodes for sure, and then beyond that, not quite to infinity and beyond, but we look forward to delivering content. But I thought, when I was thinking about what to discuss today, that would kind of help mark a milestone. I started looking back at the episodes. The most watched episodes, as far as downloads. I also went back and reviewed our daily Facebook Live numbers. I also looked back at the YouTube videos or Vimeo videos. What have been the biggest ones? And some of the best have always come from us sharing the good, the bad, the ugly. So I thought I would go back and look at and reflect a little bit, which I did last night before heading home out of the office. What are our 4 biggest wins and 4 biggest losses over the last 12 years, not just the last 400 episodes or the last 26 episodes, but really kind of thinking back to when I got started as a note investor, as a real estate investor. What are some of the 4 biggest things over the last decade plus that have helped to shape me? And I think it will also give good feedback to you guys that are entering the business as new real estate investors, and also maybe some advice to take from me to those that are been around for a while, because I'm always amazed at the questions, the Q&A that come out either through Facebook or also on Bigger Pockets or on LinkedIn, the comments that we see. And so I thought I would reflect a little bit on some of that stuff too, because if you think back, 400 episodes seems like a huge number, and it's a pretty good sized number. I have a friend that celebrated their 1,000th episode in the podcast yesterday, which is amazing. I've been doing it for a couple years longer than I have. And so I started thinking back, okay, what are the big wins and the big losses? Okay. Good morning, Laura Blunk. Thank you. I think you're one of the few that have been there almost the entire time. So thank you so much, Laura, for sharing. Very proud to be a part. Glad to have you as part of the WCN family. Thank you. First 400. That means it'll be second, third, fourth, and fifth 400, hopefully. So I thought I'd start first with the wins, and then we talk about the losses. I think we learn more from the losses, but I thought first with the biggest wins. And the biggest thing I can tell you, number one thing to do, when we start getting into your wins and losses, it's going to be different from everybody. It's going to be really different from everybody. Everybody's different. And so that's the one thing you have to realize. My biggest wins and losses are not going to be the biggest wins and losses of yours. There may be some similarity. And what's been interesting is getting phone calls from people that are students of ours who have done very, very well in the industry, call me and to talk with us over the last month, 2 months, realizing that they may have had a little dip in their business or had been through a little bit of tough time, and talking about, hey, man, we really appreciate you spending the time to coach us through. I can't imagine what you go through on a year in, year out. And that's the thing is, if you're, no matter what you're winning or losing, the first big win you want to have is, I'm a big believer that we've been very lucky to surround ourselves with really great people, not good people, great people. You know, it was really relevant December 13th and 14th here in Austin. We had a small group of people come in. And don't get me wrong, the whole month of December has been great. Our mastermind we had in Cape Coral, our mastermind we had in Dallas this year. Our masterminds are just great, are full of great people, and we really admire those people for coming and spend time with them. I'm always humbled that people will fly across the country to spend time to learn from me. But what was really nice is having, we had 15, 16 people come in from across the country, so the people that we admire, we respect the most as our peers, people that are our affiliates. So some of our sponsors like Laughlin and Associates, Credit Sense, having Megan Cole and Aaron Young and Michelle Young come in and spend a day with us just to kind of network, just kind of work through our business, sharing what's going on in 2019, having George Antone from finance come in and spend some time. Jason Bible, Robert Orfino from Houston coming in to spend time with us on the great stuff with those guys. Having Christy and Elijah Whites that are friends and family spending time with us, just to talk a little bit about what's going on in the business. God, I'm forgetting. I know I'm forgetting somebody. I'm thinking as I'm going around the table who was with us, Christy and Elijah Whites. We had George Antone, Quest IRA. We're always excited. Nathan Long, Quincy Long, Ingrid, everybody over there. Always excited exactly to have. We're actually having a very live from the vault one on the next episode. This coming Monday, but just thinking of everybody that's doing amazing things. Boom. Oh, Tom and Tracy Hazard coming in and spend time with us as well. Those were the two I was missing. If you can surround yourself with great people, it's going to make life a lot easier, because everybody has ups and downs. Everybody has ups and downs in the business. But if you can surround yourself with great people, peers. Now, we're not talking about people to give you opinions, because everybody's opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. But somebody who can give you counsel, who's either been there or knows somebody who's been there. Those are just a few of the people that we love to call friends and family. I've been very lucky over the years too to have the likes of like Greg Reed, Sharon Lecter, Rhonda Britton, just to name a few. Patrick Precourt, Jason Medley, Jillian Sadati as well. Good friends that people that I admired from afar, and as we got into this business and those relationships developed the last year, we call our extended family. So excited. Good morning to people out there. Good morning, Steve Lindstrom. Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you so much. Good morning, Charles Wilson. Look forward to seeing you here next weekend. Christy Woots, 400 exactly. Thanks. So that's the first thing is like I said, surround yourself with good people. It's one of the biggest wins for us over the last couple of years. It's good. And I have to also throw out the likes of Joel Markovitz, Daniel Singer, Jack Krupe, Val Satir, Robbie Woods, Wayne Snell, just a few of the amazing people, Karen Han Peterson, Lori Davidson. I could go on and on. Brent Garrett. I could go on and on and on about all the great people that we've been able to surround ourselves with over the last couple of years. Who've just been tremendous and amazing, and only helped us really get to where we're at today. Not just in the 400, but beyond that as well. Okay. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. The win number 2. I will tell you this. Win number 2 is something I think has been instilled by my parents, is having a really great work ethic. But one of the biggest things too is don't be afraid to ask questions. This is one of the biggest things I think has been a big win of mine. I've never been afraid to ask questions. I did not know something. I would never lie to somebody and say, "Oh, I know." I'll give them a lie. I would tell them, "I don't know. Let me find that out for you." That's one of the biggest things that I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, is they feel the inferiority complex is coming in. They don't know something, so they provide a falsehood, and then they go back and eat that falsehood later on to provide the truth. And I think that's the biggest thing that you have to keep on as a win as an entrepreneur, is not be afraid to say, "I don't know, but I will find out for you." And that's one big thing that has helped us. I think people will actually admire that. Like, okay, you don't know, that's fine. Thank you for being honest. When will you find out? That's all I know in the next hour, next 30 minutes, next 24 hours, next 48 hours, and go that route. So win number 2, don't be afraid to ask questions. I've always asked questions. Well, what about this? What about this? I think I probably bother Tom and Tracy and like that. Alexandra has her with all the questions. I ask, hey, what about this with podcasts? Or what about this? Just trying to make sure that everything's rocking and rolling along and making sure I'm not falling behind the eight ball. I think it's always been the inquisitive thing I have is what's the next thing I can do? What can I do to make our show, make our business, our vendors better? What questions? Because a lot of times good answers are more defined by the good questions being asked versus the comments being stated. So good questions can take that relationship, can take that phase a little bit deeper on what you're wanting to accomplish. All right. Win number 3 for me, I would say, is I first put that to beat your own drum, but I changed it knowing you guys out there with your minds to bang your own drum. You are you, and nobody will ever make the mistake of saying that I'm like somebody else. I'm not afraid to be Scott Carson. I'm not afraid to make fun of myself. I'm not afraid to mess up. I'm not afraid to screw up on things. That's the only way you learn, by failing forward. So biggest thing I can tell all of you out there, especially as I'm seeing people first year trying to do more video or more content or blogging, and they're trying to be like somebody that they're not. Just be yourself. Bang your own drum. You were created individually and uniquely, so embrace that. Do that. Be you, whatever that is. If it's about riding bikes, do that. If it's about being a police officer, do that. If it's about being a female entrepreneur here in Austin, do that. Don't be afraid to be unique. Into today's society, I think society tries to bog us all down into square pegs. Well, if you're a round peg, you're not going to go into a square hole. All right. So don't be afraid to go out there and make your own round hole out there. All right. Bang your own drum. Trust me. That's the only way you're going to find success and happiness. If you're trying to be something that you're not, you're going to eventually end up burning out and being unhappy. And the last thing you want to do is be unhappy. Life is too short as it is. Steph lost a good friend in her cat rescue yesterday. It was kind of surprising, unique lady, all big heart. And she was not afraid to be who she was, And so that's the one thing I tell, hey, you got to be lucky enough. You got a chance to meet her, hang around her. You got to call her part of your cat family. Nothing wrong with that. You never know. In this business, we have people that come and go all the time. And the best thing that you can do for your business, for your sanity, is just to be you. Bang your own drum. You'll be much happier in the long run. I can promise you that. Okay. Our win number 4. This definitely comes from having 400 episodes. In the race between the hare and the turtle always wins because of consistency. And so consistency wins always. Thank you, Tim Arridge. I appreciate it, buddy. Congrats to you, bud. All amazing stuff that you're doing out there, too. Consistency wins the race. How do you get, and people have asked the question, oh my God, how do you come up with 400 different episodes? The content's going to be crazy. I'm like, it's not really difficult once you get rock and rolling. You can talk about anything. There's so many different facets to this niche of note investing. You don't have to be so wide, but being consistent will show up. And the only way I've gotten better at what I do is doing this over and over and over. How do I get better at speaking in front of people? Doing it over and over and over again. And so that's the only way. People are looking for that red pill or that blue pill to find instantaneous success. And I think a lot of people unfortunately don't have the patience to find success. We've had some pretty amazing things happen being consistent here with the podcast. 400 shows is a lot. I'm honored to be teaching a breakout session at Podfest here in March. I'm excited that we're being asked to speak on a lot of things, but it all comes down with consistency. If you're scared to take that first step or the second step or the third step or the fourth step, hey, the longest journey begins with the smallest of steps. Everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time most of the time. Everybody just wipes their own ass with toilet paper, okay? Everybody brushes their teeth. Do the basic things. The things that you are most embarrassed about, everybody does those things. Think about it, okay? So being consistent in your message and doing things on a regular basis is one of the best things I can tell you. I don't know how to make that analogy between wiping your own ass and being consistent. It's just that you do it on a regular basis, okay? Eric Hyde says on here, So true. Consistency totally wins the day. It's not the smartest or best who wins. It's the person who's out there every day. Yeah, I would totally agree with that, Eric. I'm not been the smartest person. I'm not the brightest person. The thing that I feel works the most is just being there, just showing up on time and putting in your time, showing up on time and putting in the time are probably the most important things that you can do. Just being consistent, because so many people flake off and only really about 5% of people do anything out there in today's world. So if you can be consistent when you're doing, consistent with your email blast, consistent with your marketing, consistent with your offerings, consistent with reading, you're going to do a whole lot better in the long run, because a lot of people will be flashes in the pan. And this is one thing that Steph, I think Steph gets more bent out of shape about this when we see somebody starting to copy what we're doing. And it's not a bad thing. I'm like, okay, great, let them do it. Let's see them get to 400 episodes. And rarely do people get to 400 episodes or 100 episodes or teach on a consistent basis. I mean, we look at NoteCamp and what NoteCamp has done for us, which, by the way, you can get your next tickets at notecamp.live. Early bird tickets are still available. But doing an online convention, we weren't the first one to think of it, but we were the first one to get it delivered. And now we're the longest running, where some people have done it once or twice and flaked off. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of things to be consistent long term. It takes a lot of work. And if you're going to be successful in this business, and one of the big things I tell people when they come to our fast track, or you've heard it on a Note Night in America, is if you're all going to be around for a long period of time, I imagine so, all of you want to be in real estate for a long time, then start doing the things today that you need to be doing on a regular basis to get where you want to be in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Before I ever started doing a podcast, everybody, before I ever started doing Note Night in America, before I ever started doing my own webinars, I was doing coaching calls for somebody else. I would go out and coach for Bob Leonetti and Jamie Kayla with their students and spend 4 days with them, 4 ass-kicking days. And at the end, we would do a video, and it was to promote them. And yes, was I in the video a little bit? Yeah, I was in the video, but it was more to promote their students, to help me start building an audience online, start building some sort of content that people would get to know and trust me and build a name. Yes, I was helping support a name, but ultimately it came down to my smiling face and my words on camera. And that built up a portfolio to the point when I went off my own, I already built some trust and rapport with people online. And that's the biggest thing I can tell you all, is don't be afraid to just consistency. And yes, we all have hiccups. There's times you got to put down what you're doing to be focused on some other things, but don't be afraid to pick it back up. I mean, heck, I took 2 weeks off basically the podcast. The last 2 weeks of December, I didn't do anything. We still had almost 15,000 downloads. That's just because the consistency I built up over the last 26 months, actually. So be consistent. Just be consistent. Keep doing what you're doing. Trust me, you may not have the results you want now, but if you keep putting in, you don't want to end up 3 feet from gold and quit. The gold is just beyond where you're at. You never know what's going to happen. And that's one of the things that keeps me doing these basically almost every day. If you look back over 26 months, 400 episodes, that's basically 3.5 episodes every week. 3.5 episodes every week. It's basically every Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the most part, or Monday through Thursday for the most part. Keep doing what you're doing, whatever that is, whatever your video is, whether it's sitting on a patio like Gail Villanova doing the Note Gal, or it's your emails on Sunday night, or doing your Friday strolls like Cody Cox is, or sitting in your backyard with some good bourbon by the fire pit, Eric Hyde. Keep doing what you're doing. If it's the new episodes of the Good Deeds podcast, Chris Savenia and Gail Greenberg are doing, keep doing that. All right. If it's the videos that you're doing in front of your whiteboard, Bill Griesmer, keep doing that. Consistency is what's going to build a long-term. That's why people go to McDonald's. It may not be the fact that they love the burgers, but they know consistently that they're going to be there. It's the fact that you tune in to HBO on Sunday night for the new episodes of whatever it is, whether it's House of Cards, well, not House of Cards, sorry, but Game of Thrones or whatever it is. Consistency wins out all the time. So be consistent, okay? I'm only a machine because I have chosen this to be my way of being consistent with my audience. All right? Cheers to you too, Eric Hyde. Cheers to you, buddy. All right? So that marks the top 4. Any questions, comments about the top 4 wins? I know I got some people have commented on there. Thank you so much. Laura, I'm gonna start calling you Laura Peg. Round Peg, I love that. Good stuff, Laura. Anybody have questions, comments? Wins are a big thing. Anybody's got an idea for different things? Steph, Urban Truth. Truth is truth. Totally. Appreciate that. Could not do what I do without the support of Steph. Stephanie does a lot of stuff behind the scenes, everybody. If you had a chance to meet her, talk with her on the phone, just an absolutely beautiful heart. Very, very lucky man. She just does an amazing job behind the scenes and supporting what I do here on a regular basis. She may not always get it, but she supports me no matter what I do. Even some of my most craziest ideas, she's been pretty supportive on. So thank you, Stephanie. All right. Let's transition this to the opposite side. What have been our big losses along the way? All right. Our biggest losses along the way. And I know more people are like, okay, what's he going to say? What's he going to say? And here's the very first one. I think I look back at when I was thinking back, and the biggest one we talk about our biggest losses. And I think about how the fact that we surround ourselves with great people. Thank you very much, Lisa. Look forward to having you here this weekend or next weekend for the fast track training. So excited. You're going to do such amazing stuff, Lisa. Always welcome. Thanks, Steph. Number one was always to surround yourself with good people. The biggest loss I look back really comes down to people as well. And the biggest losses I've suffered over the last 12 years is when I brought on partners. It's when I brought on partners that I thought had the same mentality that I did or had the same focus and don't. And so I warn you all here, you really don't need partners. One of the biggest mistakes I made early on was bringing on a partner who brought me into the business, and they just didn't have the same focus that I did, which is okay. We're still friends to this day. We worked hard. We had a mortgage company together, but on the real estate investing side, we're two different parts. Okay. Previous business partner, another business partner was just absolutely freaking crazy. Okay. And then also when you bring on people to partner with them, I'm not talking about just on a joint venture partnership or a funding partnership. I'm talking about building a business. You want to be absolutely crystal clear they have the same amount invested in what you're doing. And if they don't, then they're not a good fit. You need to look at having them more as either a vendor or an employee. Okay. This has been the biggest thing I say. You don't need partners. You all have the capability and the tools and the flexibility and have access to the same people that I do that can help you get things done. All right. And we've lost some great people because we partnered with them and they did not have the same focus. They were out for themselves versus being more of a team facet. And so that's the biggest loss, I'd say. Some people out there just, worked with us for a while and went out and you don't need partners. So that's the biggest thing I would say out there. I mean, we're not talking about your spouses. You got your best friend, you've got the same focus. That's great. But if you don't have the same focus and your focus is here and you're here, it's going to be very hard to keep it together. Same thing. They always talk about this in marriage counseling. Okay. If you don't have the same goals as a husband-wife or a wife-husband or a husband-husband or a wife-wife or whatever it is, if you don't have the same goals, you're not moving in the same direction, that relationship's not going to last. Okay. And it's the same thing in business partners. And some of my best friends have gone through some partner breakups recently because people are wanting to go one way and wanting to go another way. And there's nothing wrong with that. The whole idea is that you want to be honest. And if you respect that business relationship or respect that relationship, just communicate. Hey, I think we're going in a different direction. I think we need to focus on this. If it doesn't fit with both people's focus, it's not going to last long term. I've actually had people come in for the fast track training that were partnering up. They had different things, and they got divorced. Basically, divorced as a partnership before they left, which is kind of funny. It worked out better for them, I believe. In the long run, there's a little bit of hurt feelings initially, but in the long run, they realized, I need to go this alone. And so I tell all of you out there, careful on who you partner with. If they're not don't have the same focus, it's not going to last. And I can often smell this out really quickly. Unfortunately, but a few times it's backfired on me of bringing on people aboard to partner with. And that's just the case. People is always a difficult business. It's hard to find good people. When you find good people, hey, sometimes it's best just to partner with them, not in a partnership, but hey, let's work on this. Let's go through do a project with them. You handle this, I'll handle this, and we'll reevaluate when we get to the end. Okay. Um, there we go. Let's see here. That's the biggest loss is the people. Okay. Number two, when I look at back things, biggest loss is number two is don't bite off more than you can chew. Some of the best things that I've done are some of the worst. A couple of the worst deals I did was stuff that I bought off more than I could chew. That would be the biggest thing I can tell you. I'm the big promoter that one of the things I should do more is make more offers. Should have done making more offers a decade ago. I mean, but a couple deals I did, I just bought off more than I could chew, and they've affected me. It's all right. We live and learn and keep moving on. So don't bite off more than you can chew. All right. Don't come and say, hey, I'm going to buy 50 deals if you have never closed on one deal. Or don't go out and say, hey, I'm going to raise 10 million in capital and go pay money for a fund, a Reg A or a 506C or D or whatever, only not to have raised any capital. So don't bite off more than you can chew. One bite at a time, one step at a time. It's one of the big things. When you try to leap forward, that's when you hurt or pull a muscle, or you hurt yourself, or you hurt your business, and it takes a while to heal that stuff. So that's probably the biggest loss. I look back as a couple of deals that I've done, trying to bite off more than I can chew, and I was just not ready for them. I thought I was, but I just wasn't ready. My confidence got the best of me. Okay. Three is another thing here. It's big loss, and this is the hardest one for me to think of is. Avoid the vampires out there. You will see, and as you grow in business, as you start closing more and more deals, you start speaking more, start sharing things, you're going to have vampires that come and try to suck your blood. Okay? I want to suck your blood. Yeah. People are going to want to take away from your momentum, and you just have to try to avoid that. Now, I'm a big proponent. I love working with people. I love helping people succeed. I'll give anybody time on the phone. If they want to pick up the phone and call me, they're more than welcome to. Okay? Shoot me a message. Hey, give everybody 20, 30 minutes to visit with them. I'm glad to do that. Hey, everybody needs somebody to reach out to sometimes, and you don't have to always sign up for a workshop like some other people like to do. No, hey, just drop me a message. We'll schedule some time. I'll give 20, 30 minutes. I'll give you my honest advice, and we can go from there. You can take it or leave it. It's up to you. There are a lot of people out there that are vampires, and the more you can get those people out of your life, and I don't mean just vampires in your business. I'm talking about vampires in your life, people that suck the energy out of you, people that are just negative Nancy, the Debbie Downers. All right. You have to learn to avoid those vampires that take away your momentum. They take away your good feeling. We all have these. All right. So, and I made a joke about on the last Note Night in America about avoiding the Grinches. We all have a lot of Grinches that are vampires. Who doesn't have family that's not supportive, or maybe spouses or or good friends that maybe you grew up with that aren't the most supportive. Okay. Steph's top here, 11-4. Keep up the greatness. Congratulations. Thanks, Todd. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate that. Todd's doing such a great job at the Orlando Note Closers group down in Orlando. Man, I'm so proud of what you're doing with that group, Todd. Keep up the consistency as well, man. Very proud of what you're doing. And if you're in the Orlando, Central Florida area, check it out. Go check out Todd LaPierre online and check out his meetup group. He does a great job down there. What's Stephanie say here? They do, they will. You learn to sense it from miles away, too. About vampires. Yeah. Steph's been very good about that, having her vampire radar up. Oh, I think this person's just along to drag you on. Sometimes she's right. Sometimes she's wrong. Sometimes I'm right. Sometimes I'm wrong. It just, you have to take a look at it and really consider and get to know people. That's why asking questions, that extra questions would often help to determine, especially talking to people, if they're a vampire or if they're really genuine and trying to be. And that's the beautiful thing about the note business, is our good buddy Joel Markovitz coined the term co-opetition. All right. Everybody likes to cooperate, but we're all very competitive as well. You have to avoid the vampires. This is one of the big things that we're very, especially our note mastermind, trying to keep the vampires out of our note mastermind, people that are just there for themselves. We've turned some people away because they just don't fit. And what's really awesome is seeing our mastermind come together. And when they actually, people that maybe aren't in the mastermind, on the verge of doing it, when they see others like, hey, Scott, you might want to be careful for that guy or that girl. We've had a bad experience with them. And that's one of the things I appreciate the most. So learn to avoid the vampires out there. Okay. Best thing I can tell you is the vampires will suck your blood and try to take a piece of you away and maybe not return anything. If you can find people that are going to work with you, great. But those that are just working for themselves, the lone wolves, those are the vampires you don't want to deal with. Okay. Um, Loss number 4 is turned into a win over the last couple of years, but I think it's important now, still more than anything else. Loss number 4 is take care of you. Okay, take care of you. There's only one of you out there, and I let myself go for a couple of years, traveling, living the note rock star lifestyle, going everywhere, just having a blast. And I came very close to losing it all, health wise. Over the last 4 years, actually, yeah, I guess about the last 3 years, 4 years now, I've really made it a focus on my health. The fact that, we work out every day for the most part here in Austin, if I can, or the fact that I've dramatically changed my diet up over the last year. Specifically, I've cut out a lot of the drinking that I used to do. I look back and thinking, especially New Year's Eve, we were down on 6th Street. We went down for an Estes Follies New Year's Eve special. And, we're walking around, and I just start getting like my spidey sense. Like, I don't want to be down here. I'm the guy that was like, hey, I'm alive for a party. Let's order a round of shots. This thing's rocking and rolling back in the day. And I think back to 2008, New Year's 2008, 2009, I had a DWI. And then about 6 months later, I got a second one. And so I wasn't taking care of myself. I was drinking heavy, was doing stupid shit, was not very healthy. My health really was starting to get bad to the point when I met Steph, 5-6 years ago. She's like, oh my gosh, you're about to die here on my couch, sitting here snoring. And so I really big advocate that if you guys don't do something with yourself, you'll lose your health. I think about how many 3-4 years I wasted being basically a walking zombie, not taking care of my health and waking up in my own vomit from choking on my vomit while I'm just sleeping. It's not a pretty picture, but I could have easily died. I could have easily done some stupid stuff. So the biggest loss I could say is take care of your health. There's only one of you out there. If you don't take care of it, you really jeopardize some things. I'm not saying you can't have fun. Trust me, I'm still known to order a round of shots from time to time when we go out. I'm still known to spice things up a little bit. But the biggest thing I can tell you is if you don't take care of yourself, it will be a big loss, not just for you, but for the people that surround you the most, people that rely on you, people that look to you. And whether you like it or not, you all are part of the tribes out there. And so that's one of the biggest things is we've lost some friends over the years that didn't take care of themselves. And that's been, I look back now, so it's not, now that loss of what would have been a negative thing is really starting to come back. Okay. And I'm starting to be, better watch out. Better watch out what Scott Clarkson does in his 40s. Well, we got some comments here from people. Let's see the book Stephanie wrote here. Stephanie says, sometimes people have the latitude to expand and change, and sometimes they can't let themselves. And it's so hard to carry them long enough to get them there if they can't change their mindset. Those are the ones you have to let go. It's so true, Steph. Thank you so much for that. There's a lot of people that we want to help. I mean, we have been guilty of really seeing, sometimes we've seen this. We've really seen more in others than what they see for themselves. And if they don't believe in themselves, you can only try to get them to do some things so much more to the point that you're then now forcing them and it's not working. You're spending more time on trying to help somebody succeed. And if they don't believe it, then it's really, really hard to continue on. Then you're just putting in good energy into negative energy, and it doesn't work that way. So thank you so much. Scott Van Camp, I'm so proud of what Scott's doing up there in Detroit, doing some great stuff. You and your brother are doing some amazing stuff, buying quite a few deals. We have to get you on the podcast here at some point, Scott. Sometime in the next month or two, we got to have you on the podcast, all right? Scott Van Camp says, I love the mastermind. Great people to learn from and exchange information with to help all of our businesses. Yeah, that's the whole point of a mastermind, bringing people together to really, really do some amazing things. So once again, take care of you, everybody. I know that with the new year, a lot of people have resolutions to get better, to get in the gym, to lose weight, to be healthier. And I will tell you this, it's a struggle. I make the joke that I put on over 5 years, I put on close to 100 pounds of ribeyes and Crown Royal. This was sponsored at one point by just pure ribeye and Crown Royal. Trust me, double Crown Royals, when you spend a month in Vegas for 4 years straight, basically every October was like just a straight month-long fun fest in Vegas for conferences, it takes a toll on your health. So it's taking a while. Didn't go on overnight. It's not coming off overnight, but it is coming off. And I will tell you this, stick to it. You will be frustrated at times that you will not see as much impact or as much what's the word I'm looking for here? As many results as you want to see immediately, but just keep sticking to it. Just stick to it. Stick to it one day at a time, one step at a time. Be consistent in your workouts. Be consistent in your eats. Hey, I had a steak the other night. I hadn't had a steak in 6 months. It was good. All right, fine. It tasted different. But I'm glad to where I'm going. I'm glad that I work out every day. If I don't work out every day, I start to feel it. And I have to take care of myself because there's only one of me, and I plan on being around for a long time. And I look back at being 41 right now. I have a long way to go. I'm at basically somewhere just underneath. I'm not even quite halfway through to where I want to be. I expect to live to be 100. I'm going to be that ornery old man, okay? But at 41, I expected a lot to come in the next 20, 30 years. And the only way I'm going to be able to capitalize that and live the most is make sure and take care of my body, make sure and take care of my health so that I don't have a big loss and am suddenly gone at some point. All right. Yes, self-care is a big thing, Steph, and progress. It's one day at a time. Dan Deppen, I'm so proud of what you're doing, buddy. Keep it up, man. You're doing amazing things. So proud of what you're doing. You've had an amazing 5 months since you've become full-time, since August 1st. We're so proud of, like I said, what you're doing. And you just keep up the great work, man. Keep up the great work, Dan Deppen. So proud of what you're doing. Okay. So, like I said, I'll recap it to anybody that joined us late there. 4 biggest wins. 1 was surround ourselves with great people. We've been very lucky to do that. All right. Surrounding ourselves with big people, great people. Okay. I've never been afraid to ask questions. Is another big win for us. 3, I'm not afraid to bang my own drum. Be yourself. Be myself. That's what I've looked at. There's only one of me, and God made me my way for a reason. Be myself. People are going to like you or hate you. It doesn't really matter. Just focus on the people that like you. Focus on the people that don't know you. Don't worry about the people that hate you. Bang your own drum. You'll be a lot happier in the long run. Okay. Consistency wins the race. Just keep doing what you're doing, being consistent. And some of the people that come in here being consistent in making deals, closing deals, marketing. Just be consistent. One day at a time, one deal at a time, one video at a time, one blog at a time. All right. The losses, biggest losses will come when we brought on partners. Along with number 2 is we don't want to bite off more than you can chew. Done that a few times. It just happens. You learn from those mistakes. Okay. 3, avoid the vampires out there in business. One of the biggest things that we learn to do. They're out there everywhere, everybody. It's a vampire infestation sometimes. Okay. And then 4, biggest loss I've had the last 10 years was not taking care of my health. And it's become what was one of the bigger losses to one of the bigger wins. All right. So you're welcome, Dan Deppen. Keep up the good work, bud. One of the things, guys and gals, I always want to make sure if you like our episodes, make sure to share. All right. Make sure to hit the share button. If you're listening to this in iTunes, Stitcher, I'd love for you to go to one of your social media profiles and tag us. Say, hey, just listen to this episode. Loved it. We're always here to help out. And when we are looking at creating new content for the show, we look at what people comment the most. We look at what people listen to the most. We look at people, what they're asking questions the most. I do look at social media. So if you're listening to this from off of Bigger Pockets, leave a comment. If you're watching this on Vimeo, leave a comment. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment. If you're listening to this on iTunes, Stitcher, any of our podcast platforms, leave a comment, leave a review. I'd love to hear more from you guys. And first and foremost, once again, thank you for listening. Thank you to all our fans and listeners out there. And once again, thank you to all the people that helped make this show a success. And we believe it's success. When you start looking at the success numbers out there, especially when it gets to podcasting, less than 0.3% hit 300 episodes. Less than 1% hit 300 episodes of the podcast out there. And so we're pretty excited to be in some rare air out there with everybody else out there. And we plan to keep marching forward on this. It may take a twist or turn from here and there from time to time. We like shaking up with some of the guests that we have. Not all just being note focused, but something about entrepreneurial stuff. Stephanie Little Hart, I think, did a great job in her episode yesterday, 399 that we had. Phenomenal information. We'll see more of her around. But once again, thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to Quest Trust. Thank you to Laughlin Associates. Thank you to Credit Sense and Merrill Chandler. Thank you to Serving Social. Thank you to all our sponsors. Thank you to all our guests. Thank you to all our hosts, our special guest hosts. Last May, thank you to you guys as well. And thank you to everybody that's listening. So once again, everybody, 400 episodes. 4 episodes. When I think back to the first episode I did here in my office on Facebook Live and just fooling around, I think it was 8 minutes long. Like number 3 was sitting outside here throwing ducks over my shoulder into the pond here. It's come a long way. We strive to give you what you need, and that's the whole point. So go out and make something happen. Thank you very much, Laura. Appreciate the comment there. What'd she say here? Another winner, Scott. Look forward to these podcasts more to keep me on target and moving forward. That is the goal. Best way for us to touch base with our tribe every day is just be consistent in some sort of fashion. All right? And we appreciate those that do reach out to us when we haven't done one in a while. Like, where are you? I need my note closers crack. All right? I need my crack. Anyway, guys, thank you again for watching. Thank you for commenting. Once again, make sure to hit the subscribe button if you're listening to this on iTunes or Stitcher or any other podcasting platforms. Make sure to leave a comment if you're watching this on any other facet. But thank you so much. Once again, thank you. Big shout out to Stephanie Goodman. Thank you so much. Helping support us. Keep everything rock and rolling. To our fans, our production company at Podetize. Thank you, Tom, Tracy, Alexander Hazard. Thank you so much again for what you guys do. And thanks for keeping us, make us look good. Thank you for allowing me to do this show and just throw this stuff to you. Once again, guys, if you are looking at starting a podcast, I can recommend nobody else that would do a better job than what Tom and Tracy and Alexander do over there at Podetize and Feed Your Brand. They just do an amazing job. Allow us to record this video and throw it to them. They do all the transcriptions. They make all the audio. They interplace our ads. They upload it to all the 40 different platforms we have out there. So once again, thank you, everybody out there. Thanks, Rich. Appreciate it. You and Joseph out there. Yeah, can't forget Stephanie. Appreciate it. So once again, everybody, go out. Have a great day. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of episode 400. And we'll see you all at the top, everybody, over the next 400. Bye.